sadly, we had some forced vasectomies in Vancouver this past weekend, and that was rough to watch. We'll get to all of that in a little bit, but first, let's discuss De Ridder versus Allen. Now, De Ridder has, in this fight, showed us an older style of MMA Jiu-Jitsu that simply does not cut it anymore. And I would make the argument that back when this style was a little bit more of the thing amongst certain athletes, it really didn't cut it back then either. Now, you have to remember the differences between Jiu-Jitsu for sport and then MMA Jiu-Jitsu. Now, MMA Jiu-Jitsu, you have to always be mindful of strikes while you are setting up your work, while you're trying to angle off, things like that. And because you always have to be mindful of strikes, you have to put up some sort of posture breaking mechanisms before you can start angling your hips off. Now, as this relates to De Ridder, he would oftentimes bring his hips perpendicular to Brendan Allen, but there was nothing keeping Allen's posture down on top of De Ridder. So all Allen had to do was simply posture up, and he would start raining down shots. Now, the extent of De Ridder holding Allen would usually be essentially Allen's forearms are on top of De Ridder's gut, and De Ridder would lay a forearm on top of his forearms, and this is a great way to set up an arm lock, which De Ridder was looking for. But again, Jiu-Jitsu and MMA Jiu-Jitsu, totally different things. It's very easy if you are in my guard for me and I put my forearm over top of your glove or over top of your forearm. It's very easy if I'm not holding you down in another way. You can just simply yank your arm out. And this was something that Allen was able to do quite often. Another thing that is really dangerous in terms of MMA Jiu-Jitsu when strikes are available is underhooking the leg in order to help you turn your hips perpendicular to the top athlete. If you are underhooking a leg, underhooking a thigh, and their head isn't being pulled down, they're just going to posture up and try to murder you. And this happened quite often. The stacking as well. So sometimes De Ridder would get to the position where he was able to get perpendicular, underhook a leg, and even sometimes throw his leg almost like approaching throwing it over Allen's head. But Allen was able to posture up, use a glove or a forearm to wedge behind De Ridder's thigh and essentially keep him in that kind of stacked position. And sometimes he would stack De Ridder even more, so all of his weight was basically on his head and neck. And that is an awful position to have to defend shots from. Oftentimes, De Ridder would be in this stacked posture, and Allen would just use his free glove and punch right in between De Ridder's thighs onto a fully stacked De Ridder who has no real defensive options from there. So again, posture breaking is so important, and these are just a couple of the instances where De Ridder really put himself in a tough position. Some of the things one of the things I really liked was that snatch single, and this is akin to like Kamaru Usman. Oftentimes we see guys, setting up shots with boxing and closing the distance and then taking the shot. Kamaru Usman will sometimes just from a standing position in neutral will just drop down and essentially extend both of his arms, grab behind the knee or the thigh, and then just lift it up. And it's almost so dumb it works because everyone is expecting some sort of boxing setup so you can close distance, but the extent of his setup is maybe a step in, just extending his arms, and then he's able to snatch up a single and then go through whatever finishes. And this was something that De Ridder had a good bit of success with. Now, it is nice to see, well, I hope this is happening. A lot of this is conjecture, but I imagine De Ridder understands, hey, my striking isn't good, It's probably not going to get very good, but I'm just going to hustle to get the fight to where I need it to be, which is in that clinch. He had a beautiful, forgive me guys, I think that's a Haragoshi, where he has both overhooks, which is normally a position that most people wouldn't want to be in, but DeRitter kind of cinched up those overhooks and tripped Allen over that, I believe, his right leg, and using those overhooks to kind of off balance the body over top of that leg, which was great. And so there were great positions, but again, DeRitter understands where he needs to be. He's never going to be a K1 champ, a Glory champ, or anything like that. He just needs to get that fight to where he's good. Unfortunately, there are certain things that he does on the ground that are not going to be the most efficient, and he wound up blowing his load. And we'll talk about the towel throw in a little bit, but the other thing that we need to discuss is the jiu-jitsu guys call it here's the new meta, and the new meta is some new position that some jiu-jitsu guy is working on, and that will become popular for a time. Well, the new meta in MMA, maybe not new, but something that I think is being used a lot more now, is just not bothering with the hooks. The hooks are, when you are on someone's back, you better, hope that you can choke them, because, and also not bothering going to your back if you have hooks in. So it's much easier to pull someone onto you than it is to roll someone off of you. So if I'm on your back and I have my hooks in, I can very easily fall to my side or fall to my back and then still be on your back with hooks in, but now I have the earth stopping much of my movement. I'm being smushed between you and the earth. And pretty much my main options there are to try to hand fight, isolate limbs so I can start going for chokes, arm locks, etc. Much smarter nowadays is the understanding that, hey, I don't need to put my hooks in, similar to how the Dagestanis play it, where I can just wear you down. I don't have to put my hooks in. I can just stay on top, ride on top, look for certain shots, wait for you to try to stand up, and when you try to stand up, just mat return. And I can spend the whole fight there until you start getting too tired. And after you spent all that energy, now I can start looking for finishes via strikes, finishes via applying the submissions, whatever it may be. Cooking them, essentially. So I use that term with my students all the time. Cooking positions. The back without the hooks in, that riding the back is a great cooking position. And it makes sense when you think about it, right? You now have to essentially do a push-up, not just a push-up to push your weight up to a standing position from all fours, but you have to now do a push-up with someone on top of you. So it's your body weight plus the opponent's body weight. And you do enough of those, and then you get thrown back to the ground again. That's going to take a toll. And I think that is the new meta, or the repopularized meta by the Russians, that works really well. Anyways, that is DeRitter and Allen. As far as the towel throwing, guys, I think that's good. I think it's really good. Good for them for throwing the towel in. If you know your guy doesn't have anything left, and you know that the chances are dwindling, why take any more smoke? Right? I don't subscribe to this warrior mentality and tough it out, go out on your sword. Well, go out on your sword is all well and good until you're not able to play with your kids, and you're slurring your speech and this, that, and the third. It's not as sexy all of a sudden. Going out on your sword isn't as sexy if you guys want to watch some of these dudes with the pugilistic dementia and things like that. All of a sudden, going out on your sword is really not that sexy. So good for them for throwing the towel in. Comment what you guys think about that, because some people, I think, are really heavy on that. You got to tough it out. You got to just go out there and get stopped if you get stopped. Well, Then that's not me. That's not me. So y'all let me know if you disagree. All right, Malott and Holland. I got a lot of flack, I think, on in the comments section about this, because I said that Malott outperformed Holland, and I don't think that it would have gone too much different if it wasn't if the nut shots were not a factor.